Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Bagede Imo TV. I am Rrør Rabila Lawal. Today, January 23rd, 2023. First are the major headlines. Buhari to attend international conference on agriculture in Senegal. CBN deadline. Only 4 out of 17 LGAs have banks in Yobe. Governor Boni cries out. Extension of IGP Barber's tenure wrong. Uriwa to Buhari. 2023 elections will be bloody unless President Buhari Niger Delta government speaks. Ibadan resident grown as petrol marketers adjust pump price to 300 naira per litre. 145 Nigerian Catholic priests killed by terrorists, 30 others kidnapped. Still on the headlines, government behead Imo LG boss collecting money. 2 arrested for kidnapping herdsmen in Ogun. Countries supplying Ukraine with power, more powerful weapons risk their own. And finally on sport, Ndidi injured again, out 4 weeks. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari will depart Lagos for Senegal on Tuesday, where he will attend the second edition of the Dakar International Conference on Agriculture. This is contained in a statement on Monday by Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. It stated that the high-level Dakar Second Summit hosted by President Macky Sall of Senegal and the chairperson of the African Union is holding under the theme Feeding Africa, Food Sovereignty and Resilience. The conference, which seeks to create favorable conditions for achieving food security in Africa, is convened jointly by the government of Senegal and other African Development Bank. There will also be side meetings to discuss agreements on the delivery of food and agricultural products in some countries, including Nigeria. The president delegation consists of top government functionaries, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, National Security Advisor, Mohammed Babagana Monguno, and Director General, National Intelligence Agency, NIA, and Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar. President Buhari is expected back in the country on Wednesday, January 25th. The summit is coming on the need to address the emerging hunger crisis in Africa. Moving to the next story from far away north. Oyo State Governor Honorable Mai Mala Buni has appealed to the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to give a special concession and alternatives to the people of Yobe against the backdrop of January 31st deadline for use of ordinary load as legal tender. A statement issued by Director General, Press Affairs and Media to the Governor, Marmin Mohammed, on Sunday, said Governor Buni believed that the appeal became necessary due to lack of banking services in most parts of the state. He explained that only 4 out of the 17 local government areas of the state have presence of banks, making it difficult for the people in the remaining 13 local government areas to access banking services and exchange their old Naira notes with new ones before the deadline. Some of the banks with branches in the local government areas closed the branches at the peak of Boko Haram security challenge, but are yet to reopen in spite of the improved security in the state. The CBN should be considerate to provide special services to such areas with special needs to avoid making them victims and losing their money. To the next story. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Uriwa, on Monday slammed President Muhammadu Buhari for the 4-year extension of the tenure of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba Alkali, after he is due for retirement on March 4, 2023 at age 60. Uriwa's national coordinator, Emmanuel Onwibuko, in a statement said the extension of the tenure of the IGP, who is from Gaidam, Oyo State, confirmed the nepotic tendencies of the president and his religious sentiment in all his appointments into public office. The group alleged that Buhari would not have extended the IGP's tenure if he were a silent Christian, warning of the implications of setting this type of precedent and abuses of laws of the country hiding under nebulous reasons. Rrør equally said the president did a similar thing in the case of his appointment of Dauda Ali Biu as the acting court marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps last year. Biu, who was born in the year 1964 in Zaria, Kaduna State, but hails from our local government area of Ogun State, joined the FRSC in 1988. The minister explained that the Police Act 2020 had changed the rules for the IGP, revealing that Baba has a 4-year tenure, amid overwhelming calls for his retirement at the mandatory age of 60 on March 1st, 2023. According to the Federal Civil Service rules, the Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Indiadi, last week announced that the IGP would not be retiring midway into the general election, as earlier expected, since its tenure had already been extended by Buhari. Moving on to the next story. The leader of a new militant group in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria has threatened to unleash hell on the country and make the forthcoming general elections bloody. The militant group, which identified itself as Force of Ekwesu in the region, threatened that the 2023 general elections would be bloody unless President Muhammadu Buhari and governors of the Niger Delta states meet them for negotiation, with the armed militant group described as doing the needful for the well-being of the oil-rich region of the country. The armed group issued the threat in video footage posted by @Goldmine TV, showing over 20 militants with various offensive guns and masked faces at a riverside with operational boats. Speaking on behalf of the group, the leader, who did not disclose his identity, said, "This video that I'm doing, Mr. President, listen to me and listen very good. Also, you governors that are in Niger Delta, I'm the Force of Ekwesu. I'm doing this video for Oyo State and also the president. This coming up election, if the governor and the president don't know what to do, I am the Force of Ekwesu. Look at my war boats and these are my fighters. I'm getting myself ready for all 24 hours operation. I'm coming for you people for the elections. If you don't know what to do, and president, if you know what to do, come to me. Also governor, come to me," as he proceeds. From south-south to southwest, precisely Oyo State. Car owners, motorists, motorcycle and commercial car operators in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, have continued to grow as the scarcity of premium motor spirits, PMS, also known as petrol, beats and bites harder. Daily polls report that the Ibadan and other towns and cities across the country have been experiencing a shortage of the commodity for the past few weeks. Correspondents gathered that the situation worsened at the weekend when some of the petrol stations selling the product shut their gates against prospective buyers, with independent marketers adjusting their price to 300 naira. This is against the previous pump price of the 195 naira and 270 naira. It was observed that some of the new fuel stations that belong to major marketers have also adjusted their pump price to 190 against the previous pump price of 180 per litre. Daily Post correspondent who went around some major roads in Ibadan in the early hours of Monday observed that scores of commuters plying major roads were stranded due to the ongoing fuel scarcity. Some of the areas visited included Bodija, Songo Eleyele Road and Secretariat Road. It was also observed that long queues are currently experiencing most petrol stations selling at 190 naira. To the next story. At least 145 Nigerian Catholic priests were killed and 30 others were kidnapped in 39 terror attacks in 2022, according to a report released by S.B. Morgan. According to the report, it was gathered that the death rate in the North Central is the highest with 12 casualties, followed by 9 in the Northwest, 5 in the Southeast, 5 in the South-South, 4 in the Southeast, and 4 in the Southwest region. It was further revealed that the 39 terror attacks recorded against the priests were 28 kidnappings, 3 herdsmen attack, 2 attacks from IPOB militants, 1 mob violence, and 1 banditry attack. Meanwhile, due to frequent terror attacks in Nigeria, most foreign countries have warned their citizens not to visit Nigeria. For instance, Sahara reporters reported how the United Kingdom and the Australian government advised the nationals not to visit Nigeria over threat of electoral-related violence and terrorism attacks last Thursday. This was seen in a statement released by the Commonwealth nations, alerting their citizens of how insecure it was to travel to Nigeria this time. Moving on to the next story, Southeast Nigeria. The abducted sole administrator of Idiato North Local Government Area of Imo State, Chris Oizo, has been chopped off. The council boss was butchered on Sunday after his abductors allegedly received 6 million naira. Video of the scene surfaced online on Sunday, where his killers insisted that there would be no election in the country. A source from the LGA, who did not want his name to be named, disclosed that the killers of the sole administrator published videos of the act with the phone of the victim on his WhatsApp status. The source said the sole administrator has been beheaded. We saw the video how the act was seen. The killers posted it with his phone on his WhatsApp status. That was how people got to know that the act was perpetrated. Moving on to Southwest Ogun. Officials of the Soul Safe Corps in Ogun have arrested 2 suspects, Mohammed Lawal and 25-year-old Sharafa Asimiu, for allegedly kidnapping a headsman. The headsman, who was simply identified as Hosseini, was kidnapped on Friday at Olorunda Lukosi, Iro Owodemba local government area while grazing his cow. The Soul Safe spokesman, Moruf Yusuf, said the Corps received a distress call on January 20th that the headsman had been kidnapped. Yusuf said the kidnappers had immediately dispossessed their victims of a sum of 130,000 naira and a document of his motorcycle. He added that the suspected kidnappers, after their successful operation, demanded 4 million naira before they could release Hosseini. According to Yusuf, the family had agreed to pay the money without the knowledge of the suspected kidnappers that they would fail. The Soul Safe Corps patrol team timely response led to the arrest of the 2 suspected kidnappers, whilst others are at large, despite the intensive combing of the location. And to the foreign story. The Russian authorities have warned that the continued supply of superior weapons to Ukraine by other countries for the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war would lead to global catastrophe and destruction. CNBC reports that the Speaker of Russia's parliament gave the warning on Sunday, saying that countries supplying Ukraine with more powerful weapons risk their own destruction. The warning is a sequel to information that some countries or organizations, including the US and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, have pledged to supply armored vehicles, air defense systems, and other equipment to Ukraine instead of the battle tanks the country requested. The state's Duma chairman, Volodin, was quoted as saying supplies of offensive weapons to Kiev region will lead to a global catastrophe, adding that if Washington and NATO supply weapons that would be used for striking peaceful cities and making attempts to seize our territory as they threaten to do, it would trigger a retaliation with more powerful weapons. CNBC further report that Ukraine's supporters pledged billions of dollars in military aid to the war-torn country on Friday, though the new commitments were overshadowed by defense leaders failing at an international meeting in Ramstein, Germany, to agree on Ukraine's urgent request for the German-made Leopard 2 battle tanks. Finally, on sports. Wilfred Ndidi will spend a couple of weeks on the sideline as a result of multiple strain injury he sustained in training, according to Leicester City reporter Owen Palmer Atkins. Brendan Rodgers tells me that Wilfred Ndidi has suffered a muscle strain in training and will be out for a couple of weeks, Palmer wrote on his Twitter handle. The midfielder missed Leicester City 2-2 draw against Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday as a result of the setback. The Nigerian international has been plagued with injuries in recent times. Ndidi has just played 16 games in all competitions for the Foxes this season. That ends the world news from BGI TV this moment. Before we go, some major headlines. Buhari to attend international conference on agriculture in Senegal. We're also brought to you only 4 out of 17 LGAs have banks in Yobe, Governor Boni cries out. Extension of IGP by Besteno Rong Oriwa to Buhari. And we also told you about a resident grown as petrol marketers adjust pump price to 300 naira per litre. Finally, on sports, Wilfred Indidi injured again, out for some weeks. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Babagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just into BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.